From R.D. Smothers Wealth Management, this is The Retirement.
When you retire, if you want an exciting life, you need a boring investment strategy.
Matters.
If you enter into retirement without a plan for income, you're not retired, you're simply unemployed.
Podcast.
Hey, this is your host, Dale Smothers, and you're listening to the Retirement Matters Podcast. My hope is that you will find the information you need in every single show on how to do one of the three things: either saving more money more efficiently, planning better for your future where you can live in retirement worry-free, or my favorite, how you can live a happy and fulfilled life in this life you have been given. We know that your time is valuable and we appreciate you spending it listening to this episode of the Retirement Matters Podcast. On this episode of the Retirement Matters Podcast, we go into a quick brain teaser that actually plays a little bit of a role into understanding the complexities of retirement planning. We describe that deeper into the show. In the middle section of the show, we discuss what consolidation is inside of retirement planning and why it may make sense for you. If you have worked in a lot of different places, you may find yourself with a lot of different types of accounts that need to be brought all under one clear and easy to understand plan, and sometimes that means consolidating accounts altogether. Now, just like everything we recommend on our show, this decision to consolidate needs to be taken into effect with an overall plan, and you need to be working with an advisor. If you don't have one of those, or if you'd like a second set of eyes on your plan with someone who specializes, specifically with someone who specializes in retirement income phase, we would be happy to assist you with that by calling our office, 270-600-PLAN. And of course, if you're a listener who listens to the show all the time, or if you're a current client, we appreciate your support. Either way, we would love an opportunity to understand a little bit more about what you want from this show. So leave us comments, rate us, review us, share us if you have people who need to hear what we have to say. And of course, we would love for you to contact us by sending us an email at contact@rdswealth.com or simply picking up the phone and calling our office, 270-600-PLAN. We hope you enjoy this episode of the Retirement Matters Podcast, simply titled, Consolidation May Be For You. Good morning to you. I hope you are doing well and you are ready to start discussing all things retirement matters. We're going to get the show started with a brain teaser that you may have heard of in the past. And later in the show, my goal will be to relate this to some things that you may be facing as a retiree, especially as you enter into retirement income phase, because that's when things get a little more tricky and they seem maybe to get closer to a riddle than a straightforward math problem. So here we go. This riddle is called the missing dollar riddle. It's a classic brain teaser, and it can trip up even the most savvy of puzzle solvers. As a matter of fact, it is such a classic riddle that there are many varieties of it. But here's the one that we're gonna focus on today. Three friends split the cost of a hotel room, and they are charged $30 for the hotel room. They each pay $10 apiece. Now, first of all, this is a very cheap hotel room, but go with it, right? Three friends splitting the cost of a hotel room. Hotel room is $30, and they each pay $10 apiece. Well, later the manager of the hotel realizes that as if it wasn't cheap enough already, the hotel room for that night was actually only supposed to be $25 instead of $30. So the manager, wanting to be as honest as he could, decides he's going to refund the people staying in the room, and he's going to give them $5 back. And to do this, he hands 5 $1 bills to the bellman and says, "Please take this up to the three friends." Well, the bellman on his way there realizes that he has 5 $1 bills. There are 3 people there. There is no way that he can reimburse all 3 of them with the same amount of money. So he decides he's going to take matters into his own hands, and he says, well, they're never going to know how much the room actually was, so I'm going to take $2 for a tip. That'll leave me with $3, and I will refund the 3 individuals $1 apiece. Does that make sense? All right, so that's all very clear, but here's where the tricky part comes in. If we add this up, we realize that each friend has now paid $9 instead of $10. They all received $1 back. But if you add up 3 nines, 9 times 3, you get 27. And then if we add up the $2 tip that the bellman kept, that's only 29. Where'd the other dollar go? Now, this is a classic riddle, and you may have heard it in the past. But for those of you who have not, or maybe those who have and have forgotten, where did this other dollar go? $30 was paid. By the time we reimburse the $1 to each friend, and $2 now goes to the bellman, why is it that when we add that up, we come out with $29? Again, each friend has paid $9 now, not 10. And if each friend has paid 9, then 9 times 3 being 27, and you add the 2 for the bellman, $29, we're missing $1 somewhere. Now, here's the thing. There is certainly no direct relation to this story and anything you're going to face in retirement, except that if we're not careful and we try to do things on our own in retirement income planning phase, the income phase of retirement is a little more complicated. It's not as straightforward as the growth phase. In the growth phase, we go to work, we put money to the market, we let it grow, and we don't have to really worry about much. But when we turn into the income phase, we have to build the portfolio correctly or we'll lose a lot of our money. We have to make sure that we're not paying unnecessary taxes or we'll lose a lot of our money. We have to make sure that we know how to get income efficiently, not just income in general, but how do we get it most efficiently or we'll lose a lot of our money. We have to make sure that we understand healthcare cost in retirement. Are we purchasing the right Medicare plans? Are we purchasing the right long-term care plans? Is there even a need for long-term care, or else we lose a lot of money? And then lastly, in the legacy planning phase, we have to understand that if we don't do things correctly, our beneficiaries can lose a lot of money. So just like this riddle called the lost dollar, if we're not careful and we try to do this complicated math on the back end of the retirement journey, we can find ourselves really trying to find a lot of dollars that have fallen between the cracks somewhere. We're going to come up with the solution to this riddle deeper into the show. But before we do that, we are going to go to our pause for positivity. The pause for positivity this week is a really neat thought, and it's nothing more than a thought. I just want you to think about how we go through life and why it is that we maybe fret a little bit too much. Why is it that we feel as if we are fearful or worried about things that are out of our control? We have absolutely no control over the way life unfolds for us. But if we're not careful, we will allow that to rob the ability for us to live life away from us. We will go through life waiting for the next shoe to drop. I've told that story on here before. I think specifically in the pause for positivity, how that there was a man who worked in New York City late at night. He worked on construction projects and he would come in very, very late in the evening. And directly below him in the condo, right below them, was a couple who had to get up very early in the morning. And later on in that story, we find that the gentleman who comes home late at night wears very heavy boots for his construction job. And every night he sits down on the edge of the bed, which is directly above the bedroom of the couple below him, and he takes his boots off. And it's not that he just takes them off real nicely. He picks his legs up, unlaces his boots, and lets them fall off of his feet. And every single night, when that first shoe would drop, both the husband and the wife on the floor below would wake up and wait, actively wait on that second shoe to drop before they would try to go back to sleep. And it worked as if every single night the same thing happened. And the gentleman above would sometimes take a minute or two before he would let the second shoe drop. From that has come the catchphrase or idiom of waiting on the second shoe to drop. Believe it or not, that's exactly where that came from. And we go through life waiting on this second shoe to drop. And if we're not careful, it will cause us to miss out on a lot of really good things. Well, it just so happened that a few days ago, I was scrolling through my phone and on a social media site somewhere, I saw this little quote, and it goes like this. It says, We relax on the plane, but we don't know who the pilot is. On the bus, we sit back and we relax, but we have never met the driver. On a boat, we will sit back without having a clue who the captain is, yet we will relax. But in life, we find it very hard to just relax, even though we know that the Almighty God is in control. And that really made me think. Granted, I'm in no real dire need of anything in my life. I've been blessed. Of course, there are good days and bad days. And of course, there are always things that you want. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm healthy. I'm happy. I'm joyful. I'm blessed. I'm saved. I have a good mind about me. I don't necessarily need any money. Now, some days you feel like you're in the rich house and some days you feel like you're in the poor house, but thankfully I have a house. These things are all benefits and blessings that so many people do not have. They can't afford these things. Yet, if we're not careful, we will certainly go through life from time to time and desire something different or worry about something that is totally out of our control. We have a very hard time of just sitting back and relaxing in life and allowing life to happen. And I know myself as a type A personality and a go-getter, maybe an entrepreneur at heart with all that I've ever done in my life, I know that I am certainly someone who wants to do the next thing and then the next thing and then the next thing. A lack of satisfaction, a lack of complacency. And while at its very core, I hate the word complacency, I don't think that understanding that sometimes enough is enough, or that's just not in my control, I don't think that those are bad qualities to have mastered. And if it's not in my control, I'm not going to worry about it. That shows a peace that surpasses all understanding. And that only comes from knowing who is in control. There was a song that said, put your hand in the hand of the man who calms the water. Now, I'll tell you, I'm not at all trying to make this a religious show, but I am going to tell you that if we're not careful, it's impossible to be positive. It's impossible to make an impact. It's impossible to live happy if we are not understanding this rule of thumb. Just relax. Again, we have no issue relaxing on the plane, having never seen the pilot nor his credentials. We can get on a bus and the driver carries on and we go about our day. We can get on a boat and not ask to know if a captain has actually ever passed any kind of sailing course. But man, in life, sometimes we just want to be in control. We've got to realize we're not. But we know the person who is. That's our pause for positivity this week. Let's go into this week with the challenge of relaxing and then, of course, helping shine our light on people's lives to make their world a better place in some way or another. All right, don't go anywhere. We're coming back with more Retirement Matters right after this quick break.
You're listening to the Retirement Matters Show with Dale Smothers. If you'd like to listen to past episodes and find exclusive content and full-length interviews, search for the Retirement Matters podcast on the podcast platform of your choice, or visit us online at rdswealth.com. Unfortunately, for many retirees, they're simply trading in the stress of work for the stress and worry about their financial future. At RD Smothers Wealth Management, our goal is to help build you a retirement plan that provides a smooth transition away from the time clock and into the time of your life. So even if you're still waiting on work retirement, we want to help you retire now from the worry of retirement funding. If you'd like to chat with a member of our team, you can do so absolutely free by calling 270-600-PLAN. That's 270-600-PLAN. Visit us online at rdswealth.com and be sure to sign up for our free weekly newsletter.
All right, welcome back to the show. The Retirement Matters show is all about helping you live happy in retirement. And there's one thing that you need to be able to do when you get into retirement income phase to make heads and tails of your current financial situation, and that is consolidation. I remember as a young teenager, 13, 14, maybe 15 years old, I remember working at a restaurant as a server, and I enjoyed that job. I enjoyed meeting people. I enjoyed helping people. But one thing I absolutely did not enjoy was the end of the night if it was my turn to close. I remember having a manager who would go around and make sure that we had wiped down the tables correctly. And while now understanding she was doing her job really well, back then, it was kind of an inconvenience. Well, I just wiped this and I've got to redo it. She was teaching me something. It's not good enough just to do it good enough. We've got to get this place ready for the next shift to come in the morning. And one of the things that we did in that period of cleanup was that we would go around together as a team and we would consolidate the condiments, the sugars, the salts, the peppers, the ketchup, anything that was laying on the table for incoming guest in the morning, we would consolidate it. And I remember there were techniques for each one of them that made that go a little bit quicker, a little bit more efficient. We would take the ketchup bottles, and we had a special way of making, we're talking glass ketchup bottles. If you've ever tried to get ketchup out of them, it's somewhat difficult. But getting it into another ketchup bottle is even more difficult. And we kind of crafted this philosophy or this way. And I didn't do it. The guy before me taught me how to do it. And so we would hand that little trait down. We had a system for consolidating the sugars. We would take the sweetened loaves and we would move all of them into one table or two tables, and then we would just go in and fill up all the other tables. This was the consolidation at the end of the evening as the shift was wrapping up, getting it ready for the next shift. And what's unique about what I'm telling you in the consolidation of ketchup bottles and salt and sugar is that we have to do something very similar when we get into retirement income phase, and it's all wrapped up in the consolidation. We have a lot of people who come to us and they have had an IRA here from a previous employer that they moved over years ago and have forgotten about. They may have a 401k from previous employers that they never moved and they've forgotten about. They may have an existing 401k. They may have 2 or 3 different IRAs that they've opened up throughout the year because, my CPA told me I needed to open something up. They may have bought some sort of an investment product that they haven't even looked at since they bought it years ago, because the salesman talked really fancy. At the end of their growth phase, they come to us and they begin discussing all of their accounts. And one of the very first things that we ask them to do is to begin to consolidate these investment accounts all into 1 or 2, maybe 3, depending on the type of classification of these accounts. Now, the reason we do this is if we can take 12 accounts and make them into 1 or 2 or 3, it's so much easier to manage. And I'm telling you that if there is one thing that will keep you from living happy in retirement, it is the lack of clarity around where your money is and how you're going to get it into your bank account when you need it. That lack of clarity is magnified, if not multiplied, if you've got accounts all over God's creation. If you have accounts setting in 4 or 5 or 6, and we've seen as many as 17 different platforms that we come in and help consolidate them down to under 1 or 2 accounts, everything looks cleaner. Everything looks better. Now, I'm a little bit OCD, all right? And that might be why we have the firm that we have. It may be why our clients are treated the way they're treated, because I want to treat my clients the way that I want to be treated. And I want complete clarity. I want organization. I want things in the right order. and so we have trained the team to do this. We consolidate down your retirement accounts almost immediately before we even begin working with the client. We'll build the retirement income plan. We'll have a good target. But before we start investing anything, we're consolidating things down. I spoke with a gentleman a couple of days ago, and if he's listening to the show, he actually came into the office to have a conversation with us for about 15 to 20 minutes. It turned into a 45-minute conversation because he had so many accounts. And rather than cut him off, I wanted to help him. And when he left our office, he was completely clear on what accounts he should keep and what accounts he should be consolidating. This was an exercise that we helped him go through. And from here, he knows exactly what he needs to do with those accounts before he starts investing any money for a retirement income phase. This is what we help a client with on a regular basis. Now, granted, we can't be all things to all people, but after our initial consultation, which is completely free of charge to an individual, we can understand if it makes sense for us to move forward as a person you can rely on, where we're working for you directly, or just as someone you can call when you need us. This particular individual is likely going to partner with our firm and become a client of our firm. And then from there, we will assist him in not only consolidating those accounts, but managing those accounts in the way that they fulfill his income plan, his tax plan, his healthcare plan, and his legacy plan. Not only maximizing his return, but also making sure that it's tax efficient and that it's hitting the targeted income he desires. So as we wrap up this section of the show, I want you to realize that one of the first steps you may need to be taking is consolidating your accounts. And if that is the case and you need assistance with that, give us a call. If you got a lot of different accounts, 2 or 3 different advisors, and you're entering into income phase, and you think, well, Dale, how do I know if I'm into income phase? If you're over the age of 59 and a half, it's time to get real serious about entering into income phase. You need to give us a call, 270-600-PLAN. I think a set down with me or a member of the team is going to make a lot of sense for you. It's going to bring a lot of clarity to your situation. And at the very least, what you will do is be able to walk away from that meeting knowing what your next step should be. That's something that we do, again, completely free of charge for that first consultation. We'd love to talk to you. 270-600-PLAN. Give us a call, and we'll help you get some consolidating underway. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back after these messages with more retirement matters and a little bit of talk around this missing dollar riddle that we discussed at the beginning of the show. You're not going to want to miss that. So we'll be back in 30 seconds.
You're listening to the Retirement Matters Show with Dale Smothers. Dale is the founder and president of R.D. Smothers Wealth Management. We specialize in building retirement plans that allow you to walk away from the worry of running out of money. If you'd like to chat with a member of our team, you can do so absolutely free by calling 270-600-PLAN. That's 270-600-PLAN. Visit us online at rdswealth.com and be sure to sign up for our free weekly newsletter.
All right, welcome back to the show. Let's jump into the missing dollar riddle first, and from there, if we have some time, we'll go into one last topic that I want to discuss with you. I did take a little bit longer than normal in the Pause for Positivity, so forgive me for that. But some of that was telling this riddle. So where did the extra dollar go? And for those of you who didn't catch that, let's go through it very quickly one more time. There was a hotel clerk that charged 3 friends for their room. He charged them $30. All 3 friends split the bill and paid $10 apiece. At the end of the evening, the hotel manager realized that they were overcharged for the room, and he said, we need to refund $5 back to the group. Those 5 $1 bills were handed to a bellman who was told to walk upstairs and hand deliver those to the guest. Well, the guest had no idea how much the room actually was supposed to be. The bellman knew this, so instead of giving all $5 back, he said, we can't split this evenly, so I'm going to take $2 as a tip, and I'm going to give each guest back $1 apiece. So if we look at that from reverse, we see that each guest has paid $9 for their room, but the hotel bellman has received a $2 tip. Well, 9 times 3 is 27, and if we add in the $2 tip, it's only 29. Where did the extra dollar go? Here's the thing. When I'm describing that math to you on the second portion of the riddle, I'm actually walking you through logistically and maybe logically in an order that isn't actually accurate. However, because I'm leading you through that, you are very prone to following my reason and then reasoning off of my reason. And because of that, you're actually searching for an extra dollar when in reality there isn't one. There was no dollars that were lost in this transaction, but what was not accounted for was the additional $25, the third party in this riddle that was actually paid. The $25 went to the hotel, 2 went to the bellman, and 1 went back to each friend. Now, if we just want to say that each friend paid $9 a piece, that's okay. We can say that. That yields 27, 9 times 3, right? That's the rationale there, and that's totally logical. However, we cannot then add in the $2 that the bellman received, because in reality, the $2 the bellman received is already calculated in the $27 that the 3 friends paid. Think about it. They all paid $9 each, and what they ended up doing was in that $27 that they paid the hotel $25, and they paid the bellman $2, because the $2 tip, if you will, although it was stolen from them, it's a tip. That $2 tip is included in the 27. So we shouldn't add the $2 to the 27. No. We should actually be adding the $3 that the friends received as a refund to the 27. And voila, there's your $30. Now, why in the world am I telling you that? Well, first of all, I like riddles, and I hope you do too. I really like these little brain teasers, and I hope I didn't lose you. But if you think through that, and maybe even take it home, and if you're sitting beside somebody, you guys roll that around a little bit. It's a pretty neat little riddle. And what it illustrates is that if you allow the person in front of you to rationalize for you, they could lead you down the wrong path. And if they use their reasoning, and then you say, well, that sounds reasonable. Yeah, let's go that direction. And you follow their reasoning and then take reasoning from their reasoning, you could find yourself in error. So you can't go through life fully skeptical at all times, but you do have to realize that income phase and growth phase are 2 totally different phases, and they both require different reasoning. Just like the riddle, basic arithmetic would tell you all 3 friends paid 9, the $2 went to the bellman, so where's the extra dollar? Well, that's not really how things work. Not when we're going in reverse order, not on that riddle. And in retirement income phase, rules are different. Income investing is different than growth investing. And while we're here, let me talk a little bit about that, because we had a gentleman in our office a couple of days ago, was talking to one of our team members, and he said, I don't understand. What's the difference in growth and income phase? It seems like both investment should be making money. And the answer is absolutely. You're exactly right. Both investment portfolios should be making money. But the difference in the way that you invest in income phase versus growth phase is this. If we summarize it in very simple terms, it's this. In growth phase, we cannot stand a great deal of ups and downs. We can't stand all of these crazy swings in the up and down motion. Your portfolio in retirement income phase should generate income for you even in down markets. And we shouldn't see such volatility, fancy word for up and down movement of the market. We shouldn't see such volatility in the principal balance. If we put $500,000 into a market-based environment that's growth-focused, we may very easily find ourselves staring at a $400,000 number. However, at RDS Wealth, we work with income investors who need that number to never be at $400,000 due to market movement. Now, what that may mean is we give up a little bit of upside, but we're okay doing that because we're investing for stability in market returns, not for a lot of high-flying gains. Said a different way, we do not want you risking in the income phase. We do not want you risking the hard-earned money you've already made to try and hopefully make a little bit more in the future. And lastly, perhaps most concisely, I want to tell you this. In income phase, losses hurt you more than gains help you. Wow. And just like that, it's the end of the show. So again, losses hurt you more than gains help you in income phase. And we know this. Most of our clients that we work with in the income phase do not need an exponential rate of return to be able to accomplish their goals because they've worked hard in the growth phase to get them where they are. But what got you here won't get you there. And we change things up for you by first consolidating and then by understanding exactly how much income you need in retirement. And from there, we invest this portfolio that you have amassed over these years in growth phase. We invest it in the way that you do not have to worry about the stock market taking that money and erasing it for your life. That is how we help a retiree that is approaching income phase. And that is what we would like to do for you if you find yourself in those shoes. If not, you know someone who is, tell them to give us a call and we can assist with all of their fears and worries, at least in pointing them in the right direction to know what the next step needs to be. 270-600-PLAN. Again, 270-600-7526. And as we're signing off, I want you to know that we appreciate you tuning in, and we look forward to talking to you again, whether it be in person or right here on the same station next week. Until we talk again, always remember, save money, plan well, and live happy in retirement. God bless.
Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AE Wealth Management and Artie Smothers Wealth Management are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Artie Smothers Wealth Management is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Artie Smothers Wealth Management.